Hi all, it's Tom the taxi driver, and in this video I'm going to be telling about when you should apply to go on the knowledge. When should you apply to the public carriage office to go on to the knowledge? Now, first of all, I'm going to say that it's very, very important that you do apply to the public carriage office to go on to the knowledge, because it's quite useful for the knowledge team, the examiners and all the processes within that department at Transport for London know how many drivers or how many would-be drivers are going through the system, so they can anticipate how many appearances they need to have, so how many members of staff they have to process all the applications, that sort of thing. It's also very important for the trade. The trade and unions still look at these numbers to ensure that we have good amounts of knowledge candidates coming through to replace those for as many drivers that retire. The number kind of floats around 20,000 cab drivers, and that's quite important because that enables us to offer the most reliable standardised service that we can offer. If we don't know how many cab drivers are coming through, we don't know how many cab drivers we're going to have in the future, and as a result that might then mean that the ranks then get emptier, we become less a reliable service. So it's important that we keep that good constant number of cab drivers. Of course it fluctuates from time to time. I imagine we're now currently in April of 2020, during the coronavirus. A lot of people will be questioning, how safe is their job during times like this, so they'll want to go on the knowledge to have a trade, something in their back pocket that they can come back to. And we've seen this in the past. Whenever there's been recessions, times of economic downturn, people have gone to the knowledge and more people apply for the knowledge during these times. When you sign up for the knowledge, you obviously have to do a medical, go for a DBS check as well, which is a criminal record check, and pay a fee, send it all off to Transport for London. Once you've done all those things, you then get invited to an introductory talk. This introductory talk is compulsory. You do need to go on it before you can then advance into further stages of the knowledge. And that's really, really important as well, because it's your chance to ask an examiner about how the system works. You can see if you're on the right process, you've got the right materials, see if it's for you as well. And importantly, you need to do it to be able to progress on to the next stage. Now, when I started, I didn't actually apply straight away because there wasn't an introductory talk, so there was no need to do it. And I would encourage you to sort of do the same. Be wary about when you want to apply. You have a 2-year deadline from when you apply to when you must take your first appearance. Now, with effective scheduling, running your blue books, you should be able to get through your blue books between, I don't know, average time is probably going to be about a year and a half. It took me about a year and a half to get through my blue books. You could do it in much less than a year though, depending on how effective your scheduling is and how quick you want to run through it. So the 2-year deadline is a very, very good time to get through it anyway. But certain things might come up within your family, things like that. So that 2-year deadline all of a sudden might come around very, very quickly. So do bear that in mind, that once you've applied, obviously you had to pay a fee to apply, you might have to extend and resubmit your application again. And of course, resubmitting your application means going through another criminal record check, doing another medical, which costs money, and of course, submitting that form and money to TfL again. The other thing to consider as well is the knowledge right for you? I would go out and do some runs anyway. It doesn't, apart from your time, your expenses in terms of your vehicle, getting out and doing them, and getting a few blue book runs, it doesn't really cost you anything to try it out and think, right, does this work? So go do a few runs. I don't think I applied until I'd probably done about 30 or so runs. And that's because there wasn't an introductory talk as well. Do also note that you can get introductory talks from all of the knowledge schools, and I would highly recommend doing this. Most knowledge schools, I think all the knowledge schools do this for free, because ultimately you don't know what you're getting into. I remember going to one at the Grays Knowledge School in Essex. It was like the most daunting thing ever. I'd already done a few runs, but it just felt like the most unattainable dream. It felt really, really far away. But it was really, really important. It was going to that knowledge school, that introductory talk, that I learnt about the idea of pointing whilst doing my runs. So I took that away and did that as well. And I think that got me through the knowledge faster, the fact that I could point at the same time as doing my runs. But take advantage of the fact, go to as many of those as possible, get so many different opinions, go to Wizang, go to Knowledge Point, go to all the different knowledge schools, and hear what everyone has to say. Like I say, they're free. It only takes your time to physically go and do those as well. I spoke about how it took me a few months before I actually applied to go on the knowledge. The reason why if you're uncertain, and the one circumstance I think you should apply instantly, if you know you want to do this and if you know you can do this, is if you have a bit of a shady criminal record background. Make sure that's the benefit of applying, is that if you apply, you have to go through the criminal record checks, they have to go through your medical as well. So if you're worried your medical might not be up to scratch, by applying and paying that fee, and the TfL getting back to you and saying, yep, you've been accepted onto the knowledge, you know that you're clear. You know that your criminal record's good and your medical is good as well. If those circumstances change during your time in the knowledge, it's very important you update TfL on that, because again, you might be wasting your time carrying on thinking, right, I'll sweep this under the rug, because when you get out, you have to go through another criminal record check anyway, and if you're of a certain age, you have to go through another medical as well. So that would be my reason to apply from the get-go, is if you're unsure about any of those, and that's kind of a nice tick to say, yep, you're good, off you go. The other great thing about applying, and this is probably one of the motivators I applied for, is the voluntary assessment. The voluntary assessment takes place after about 80 runs. You can do it in the first 6 months after you've applied through Transport for London. And what the voluntary assessment is a mock map test. It's called voluntary because, of course, you don't have to go and do it, but I would highly recommend going to do it, because you get to go to the examination centre, you get to, again, ask questions with the examiner, and all this builds up your knowledge, your understanding of the examination centre as well. So when you go there for your appearances, when you actually go there for your map test, it doesn't seem as daunting. You've already walked through those doors, you know a bit of the drill. It takes out that level of stress you're going to experience from doing it the very, very first time. So yeah, I love doing that voluntary assessment. It's like a mock map test. It covers the first 80 runs and the first few points that you're going to get on those 80 runs, so you can see your progress. Are you doing it right? If you then pass that, it's very, very good. If you carry on doing what you're doing, you're more than likely to be able to pass the map test when you get there. Like I say though, there is a 2-year limit on when you apply. So that's probably the main thing to be wary of with applying. Can you get through the knowledge? Not get through the knowledge, of course. Get through your blue books and get a good amount of points behind you and start on point to point within those 2 years. That's the limit you need to go for. And then, yeah, it's one of those things as well. I think once you submit your application, you're in the system, and I feel like you have an obligation. And you think, right, I've got this now. I've got 2 years to get through it, or to get onto appearances. I need to do this. I need to knuckle down and get studying. So definitely, those are the reasons why you would apply, maybe why you'd hold off applying. But do apply, do go for it. It's going to change your life. Please do watch some of my other knowledge videos here on YouTube. If you found this to be of value, please do like, comment, so I know exactly what you're maybe thinking and feeling if I've not covered it in this video. And best of all, if you subscribe, that lets me know how many people are interested in these videos and whether I should make any more of them. Thanks once again, and I'll see you again soon.